Dale Strong.
Here.
I thought I saw Dale. Jerry Walden.
Jerry
Dan.
visiting his grandkids.
Okay. Dan Wondersea.
Here.
Gertrude is here. Missy Williams. Tim Williams. Jeff Wilson is here. Richard Dean Van Winkle. Carol is here. Greg York is not. All right, there you go. You're welcome. You should have received or picked up a copy of the minutes of the prior meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Financial report for the second quarter, Mary Richardson.
Okay, just a few things. After 54 years in banking, I just couldn't help myself. I had to take a deep dive into the financials. So with that, working with Clara and we were kind of working with the accountant and stuff, and we're making a couple of changes. On the beat that compares the 2026 to 2025, the first merchant's checking balance, it always just said first merchant's checking balance, and the balance was never most of the time it was not the actual statement balance. It was a reconciled balance. So we've changed that wording to explain that. We have also provided you with, Clara provided you with all 3 months of the reconcilement. I really think the only one you need is June, because that's what's outstanding for this whole report. And you will notice on the bank reconcilement that's in your packet that there was a $113.62 check that was outstanding. So I wanted, I want to know more about it. So Clara and I went back clear to December 2022, and she was going to have to dig out boxes. And I said, I think we've gone back far enough. We don't have to do that. So it was still, still outstanding. And so Jeff Pastor, he knew who the person was, and I provided an affidavit. He took it and had him sign it, and the accountant has reissued the check that will be reported in the third quarter financial statement. So we cleared that up. I asked her if she would put a date beside it when it's outstanding, because that would have helped, help the board kind of keep track of it, and we probably would have followed up on it a lot sooner than from 2022 to now. So if we have the date there, then we can kind of watch that, and it gets kind of old, we can follow up and get something done about it. So we took care of that. Also, another thing that I asked for is for footnotes on the financial statement, pointing out things that are prepaid and current liability paid in the future, mainly from 1 year to the next, because in our year-to-date totals, some of the revenue and some of the expenses actually happened last year. So if at least on the first quarter report, we have some footnotes, and anybody trying to balance it out some way would be able to know that that's what the difference is. So we're going to just kind of make it a little bit easier for people to know. Basically, for your information, just when you look at the year-to-date totals, 9156.80 is actually dues for 2026, but they were deposited last year, and we had expenses for this year of 2025 that were paid last year. So just for FYI, that those are in your year-to-date, but if you were trying to balance it back to the balance, it happened last year. Also, the executive committee agreed that we can change banks. So Clara and I went to First Financial, and setting up the account will be very easy. All signers will be able to sign electronically. They'll get an email, be able to go in and sign electronically. They won't have to actually physically go into the bank. The accountant will be able to send checks, online checks out, and not have to send a check to Claire for her to sign it and send it on. I mean, that's going to be, a much easier process than the way we have it now, more streamlined. there will be no monthly fee unless the accountant needs to initiate an ACH entry. For most things like payroll taxes and stuff, she has the ACH, orders them to take it out of the account. But for payroll, she has to actually initiate it. And so Claire was willing to work it out with her where she could actually transfer it into the bank account, and therefore we won't have any service charge. If at some point we do need to initiate the payroll out, then there will be a $30 a month charge. This is going to be a lot better than we're paying about $50 a month in service charges. So this, either way, it's going to be better than what we have now and a much smoother process. So that's it.
Good. So I have a motion to approve the financial report. If somebody doesn't make it, then Mary's gonna talk more.
I made that motion. She did a fine job.
She did a great job. Have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is guest speakers. I will turn it over to Clara to introduce Darren Clean.
So Darren did tell me that all I had to do was put it on his calendar and he would join. I don't think that's happening. So if we can go ahead and switch over to the EPA with Jesse. You want to talk about yourself, what you do?
Good morning, or good afternoon now. Jesse Cassiano, EPA Region 5 out of Chicago. I am one of our brownfields project officers. Been in brownfields for 3 months. Prior to that, I was in our prior environmental justice division. Prior to that, 32 years with the Department of Defense, so been in Fed for a little bit. Originally from Northwest Indiana, so Indiana is my favorite state. So the reason why I'm here is we just had our brownfield grant awardees announced. Henry County and North Central Indiana Regional Development Commission were awarded. And what I'm seeing in my short time there is it's always the same communities, organizations applying for our grants, whether it's brownfields, clean water, clean air. And when I talk to communities, a lot of them don't know about our grants, so I'm here just to spread the wealth and say, we have funding available, please apply, but I'm also here if you have any questions. I know it's been a crazy year and a half, so if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer what I can. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have one. How do you convince people that if they follow through with this grant and have something evaluated, the concern might be that that if they find something, that we have to deal with it and don't have the money to deal with it? So how do you convince people that the process will work itself out without it being a burden?
So what I do is I attend your public meetings if I can and explain the process. And for example, our brownfields, I walked down the street earlier, I noticed an abandoned building down the street. It looks like an abandoned church on the left-hand side, not sure. But what we could do is we have a contract process where you can, ask for assistance. And if you're selected, we'll do a phase 1, so records, research on the property. And then we'll do a phase 2 where we'll go in, and if it's lead, asbestos, or if it's an old gas station, we will do that. And if we find the history of leaks, we'll clean up the property with no charge sheet. And if you're awarded one of our grants, the grants will cover that as well.
Okay, so that's the concern.
But traditionally, there's no stick at the end of the grant that's gonna beat somebody up.
No.
The city of Rushville received a brownfields grant 10 years ago, and I think we did extraordinarily well with the projects and the redevelopment for most of it. Now, I would say, Jesse, that you had other people apply who didn't get funded.
Yes.
I had my debrief with Jacqueline on Monday, and we scored 146 out of 155 points, and still weren't quite there. And a lot of my concern is they say, well, we need to provide more detail, and you give us this much space to apply, and I don't know how to put more detail in there without violating the rules to apply. So we're going to work on it and see how it comes out, but it's a great program. We've done a lot of good here locally with the Diamond Pet Foods. I think utilized it for some of their work in our Commerce Park. And a building 2 doors down, if you walk down the sidewalk, you'll see some quarters where it was the first auto body garage in the city that, we mostly made sure that there wasn't a problem. But yeah, we got to figure out how we pin that down a little bit.
So when you applied, did you work with Kansas State University?
We did, actually. And so we'll work with them again. I know Beth Grigsby. Beth was actually with our consultant when the city had. So we'll continue to work with her and pin it down. I'm not sure I fit any more into that application, but we'll try. Maybe it's small type. Normally I'm used to putting it's very, 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 very polluted. Now I have got to figure out how to get it smaller.
Just one very.
Yeah.
Yes, and the other issue is, with this current administration, if you're saying climate change, community, women, you're gonna get scored low. But, so EPA's #1 pillar is clean air, land, and water for every American. I tell community organizations, make sure that's at the very front, because you're not saying those key words, but you're covering everybody without saying.
Well, one of our issues was we didn't comment what would happen in an excessive weather incident, which I don't even know what the hell that means. So, but that was, I think we lost points on that. So.
I'll go through my records, because I scored the different regions applications. If I can find our scoring sheet, you might have it in your email.
I would like, I've not seen the specific scoring sheet, but Jacqueline was very good at telling us where there were no comments and where there were comments. So.
Quick question, because for this program, sorry,